Hi, my name is Matthew Bokash and I work in the Forest Health Protection program of the U.S. Forest Service. I'd like to discuss with you today why many government agencies and private organizations are asking the public not to move firewood over long distances, but rather to buy it where you burn it. You're probably wondering why the Forest Service cares about movement of firewood. The problem is that many of the insects and fungi that feed on trees can survive in dead wood. Among the species that can be moved around in firewood are some of the most destructive, invasive pests we currently have in the United States. Moving firewood that has one of these species in it allows them to spread much faster and further than they could on their own. Introducing invasive forest pests into a new area can have severe impacts to forests. Invasive species often cause widespread death of trees, which can cause huge disruptions to the ecology of an area. Lots of dead trees lead to increased fuels, a recipe for intense wildfire. And nobody goes to natural forests to see dead trees, so there are aesthetic impacts as well. Finally, invasive insects can cause massive economic impacts. The emerald ash borer, an invasive beetle from Asia, has caused billions of dollars of damage to homeowners and municipalities. Besides all the costs of removing and replacing dead trees, there is also the loss of property values associated with losing one's trees. The gold-spotted oak borer provides a fascinating case study of an invasive wood-borne pest because it's actually not exotic to the United States. This small beetle is native to southeastern Arizona. Sometime in the last decade or so, this insect was introduced to San Diego County, probably in oak firewood. We don't happen to have in California any of the species of oak trees that this beetle infests in Arizona, but it was actually able to jump hosts and start infesting coast live and black oaks in our state. Since neither of these tree species have any evolutionary history with the gold-spotted oak borer, they have been completely unable to resist its attacks. And unlike most cases with wood borers where it is young or previously stressed trees that are killed, the gold-spotted oak borer is actually killing healthy, very old, and very large coast live oaks in San Diego County. This series of maps shows in red the locations of dead oak trees mapped by the Forest Service's annual aerial survey program. I'm going to show you 2 successive years' worth of data, and what I want you to notice is how the established areas of tree mortality, the red areas, slowly get larger, but also how new areas of mortality start to appear in completely new locations. You can see that process starting to happen here and here. These data show that the gold-spotted oak borer is moving around San Diego County much faster and further than its natural rate of spread. And as this map shows, in 2009, a new population of the beetle was discovered in a county park in La Jolla, as shown by the red star very near the coast. This new location is over 30 miles away from all other known populations and can only be explained by people spreading the beetle in firewood. A question I'm often asked when I talk about the danger of firewood movement is, who really brings firewood to California? Fortunately, due to the efforts of our partners at the California Department of Food and Agriculture, I can answer that question. Since 2008, CDFA has been recording details on firewood in vehicles that it inspects at its 16 border stations throughout California. The data tell an astonishing story. In 2011 alone, over 8 million pounds of firewood were recorded at CDFA border stations in private vehicles. Firewood was brought to California from 43 other states and Canada. And as shown on the map here, 337 potential forest pests were intercepted in firewood in 2011, coming from 38 other states and from as far away as Maine. The most alarming of these interceptions in firewood occurred in July of 2010 when agents at the Topaz border station found living emerald ash borers in this load of firewood in an RV that had traveled across the country from Michigan. These photos show first of all the wood, and then a close-up on the characteristic D-shaped exit holes in the bark, and here an adult emerald ash borer found after the firewood was split open. It's important to note, however, that the story of firewood coming into California from other states is not just a matter of people from other states bringing wood here. In fact, over a quarter of those potential forest pests intercepted in firewood in 2011 were in vehicles with California license plates. This map shows all of the states, again from as far away as Maine, from which Californians brought pests back to our state in firewood. This illustrates how important it is that we get the message out within California that moving firewood poses a serious threat to our forests. In November of 2010, the California Forest Pest Council created the California Firewood Task Force, which has representatives from over 20 governmental and private organizations. I'm showing you here a few of the outreach materials that have been produced by the task force, which we hope you'll be seeing around California this summer. You might be wondering how to know whether firewood that you currently possess is carrying pests or diseases. These photos show a few easy-to-spot characteristics that wood contains or contained hitchhikers. If your wood has any of these signs, the best thing you can do is burn the wood as soon as possible. Whatever you do, please don't move the wood. There are a number of simple things you can do to help us prevent serious impacts to California's forests. Buy and/or burn firewood from near where it was cut. Don't transport firewood more than 50 miles. And don't bring firewood from home with you when you visit public parks or forests. Regardless of where your firewood came from, burn all of it at your campsite before leaving. Don't leave any wood behind in the campground for the next person unless you know for sure that the wood was collected near that campsite. And finally, tell your friends and family about this important issue and encourage them to also buy it where they burn it. There are lots of further resources available to you if you'd like to learn more about this issue. I strongly encourage you to check out the California Firewood Task Force website at firewood.ca.gov. The site contains a lot of information specific to California, as well as links to several other sites that are national in scope. You can also feel free to call or email me. My details are there on the screen if you've got any other questions. Thanks for your time and for your help in protecting California's forests from invasive pests.